Truckers' voices. Tell me what got you in the driver's seat. Tell me what your favorite kind of truck to drive is. What are some of the stories that make your life? And where'd you come from? Did your daddy drive? Did your grandpa too? Was it in your blood? Was it something you chose? Tell me what your favorite kind of road to drive is. What truck you're in. Truckers' voices. Tell me all the stories that you have. Tell me what your life is like in the cab, and how you started out in this business. What's the kind of truck you dream of driving? And what's your dream rig? Tell me all about the places you've been. And what's your name? Do you have a call sign? What do they call you? Do you drive long haul? Do you drive local? Tell me how long you've been doing this, and tell me how long you'll stay in the business. Truckers' voices. Tell me all the stories that you have. Tell me what your life is like in the cab, and how you started out in this business.
Well, good Thursday afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good out there today. I hope that y'all had a excellent day of trucking, and I hope that everything that you did today was well worth it. I know that it's well worth it to America because you keep America moving forward, and you're such an important part of this industry that we're a part of. And tonight we have a great guest on tonight, Mr. Micha Larsen from Truckers Against Trafficking. And we're going to come on and talk with him because this is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And every year we bring on somebody from TAT, and we're so glad to have Mike on. He's been on one time before for a few minutes. He come on and share, but tonight he's got the whole hour with us, and we're just so glad we're going to get to ask him some questions and things about TAT and what's changed at TAT and some other stuff there. So anyway, it's just so good to be with him tonight, and it's always good to be with my co-host Steve Brand. And so we're going to bring Steve in here. We'll do a little bit, bantering back and forth here in a minute with Steve. So let me get it set up, and we're going to bring Steve in here on his old theme song. How about that, y'all? Oh, everybody, Steve Brand. Oh, man, what is this? Well, my board's done changed up on me. I don't know what this one is. So we're not even going to do that one. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even realize my board would do that. Anyway, I've got all kind of gadgets here. So anyway, long story short, we'll bring Steve in on a hand clap. How about that? Steve, what you do? Where'd you go, Steve? There he is.
There we go. There we go. How y'all doing? Everybody doing all right tonight? I hope.
From one week to the other week, I have not touched this board, and it's just doing its own thing.
It updated by itself. It's kind of like my phone. My phone updated the other day, and I'm lost. I can't find nothing. I'm figuring it out, and I don't know. It's like whatever.
I got you, Steve. Well, anyway, how was your day of trucking today?
It's a pretty good day. My tractor kind of went down on me. It's had throwing some codes and everything, so I stuck it in the shop last night. And I took another truck today, which it's fairly clean considering all the salt and everything we got up here. And
yeah,
but no, it's a good day. Traffic was a little heavier than it has been. I think everybody was out getting bread, milk, and sugar cookies and all that stuff for the. I got a feeling come Saturday we're going to be snowed in for a while. What they're telling us.
Yeah, y'all keep it up there. You know my feelings on that for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wish it would blow around us, but we'll wait and see. But no, it's been a good day, been a good week. I'd say it's been a good week. Monday was kind of touch and go, but it keeps you alive, keeps you alert, lets you know, hey, it's wintertime. So
It's wintertime for sure.
but
For sure.
like
Yeah.
I think, like I said last week, people, when you hit the bridges, don't hit the brakes. Please don't hit the brakes.
I'm going to get this out of the way here. So, the opinion expressed on Truckers' Voices are those of the host and the guest and do not reflect the views of any employer, affiliates, or organization. And this is for informational and entertainment purposes only, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I'm so proud that we can do this and come on and hear the stories of truckers. That's our main goal here. But also, whenever there's something important going on, such as a report that comes out from ATRI, or like this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. We want to highlight that. So we always have space on our podcast for these and very important topics there.
Yes.
So
Those are the current events that we cover.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Steve, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to give Micah a proper introduction here before we get started. So, I want to welcome Micah to Truckers Voices, the podcast where we amplify the voices, the stories, and the issues that matter most to American truck drivers. And, as I said a while ago, I'm your host, Tim Taylor, and tonight we have Steve Brandt and Micha Larsen with us. And tonight we're bringing you an important conversation for sure that every driver and every family, you hear that? I said every family needs to hear. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and tonight we're joined by our guest, and he works, directly with drivers, communities, and other folks, in to help identify and report and stop human trafficking. We are truck drivers, Steve. Did you know that?
Is that what I am?
You're a truck driver. And guess what, Steve? You are uniquely positioned to be the eyes and the ears of the highway, and that's what we're going to hear tonight. We're going, how somebody could truly save a life. And, so you know what? I'm going to tell everybody right now, yeah. If you're not sitting down already, grab a seat, turn it up, and let's get into tonight's conversation. So everybody, let's welcome Micah Larsen to the show. Mike, I put you in there and I kicked you right back out, didn't I?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh man, so it's so good to have you on Truckers Voices tonight and to bring us up to date on what's going on with TAT. And Steve and we are TAT ambassadors for sure. We've been TAT trained, but my opinion, and I know it's your opinion and Steve's opinion, every truck driver needs to get TAT trained for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much, Tim and Steve, for inviting me to be on the podcast. It's always an honor and a pleasure.
Right. Yeah, and I heard you not too long ago on the Dave Nemo show. I was listening, and you was on the Dave Nemo show with Jimmy Mack and them guys. So
yes, sir.
And
go ahead. I was about to say, we're a regular on that show, as you know. We're on lots throughout the year, so it's always a pleasure to be on that show as well.
Right. And if there's ever anything that you need to get out there, you know what? You have a place right here on Truckers Voices for sure.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that.
Right. Our audience, some of our audience catches us live. And then sometimes, we get a lot of people on the replay through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and on our own page, truckersvoices.com. So we get a lot of traffic through there, and YouTube, of course, So I want to thank everybody for that's listening live tonight over there on YouTube. We sure do appreciate you coming in here and talking with us tonight there, Micah. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right on into it?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, Micah, as the mobile exhibit specialist with TAP, so what does your typical week look like, especially during, this month of, Human Trafficking Awareness Month?
Yeah, great question. So for those of you who don't know, I'm the mobile exhibit specialist. And what that means is TAT has a mobile exhibit called the Freedom Drivers Project that travels around to different parts of North America, whether that's to different companies' headquarters or to different public trucking events, whatever members or whatever industries that are relevant to the work that we do. We travel around to different events like that to bring a little bit more education and awareness with this exhibit. And on the inside, we have artifacts from real survivors of human trafficking paired with their stories, and some other statistics surrounding human trafficking, as why does human trafficking still happen in our society today? Push factors, pull factors, that kind of thing. But then also highlighting the work that TAT does within those industries to be able to combat it as a part of their regular jobs. So a typical week as the mobile exhibit specialist is fun because I get to schedule a lot of these events with the companies that we work with, lock down hauling details from our elite haulers program, but then also, schedule all the different presentations and stuff like that and the podcasts that I get to be on. It's a roller coaster and it's always a fun time, especially with the work that we're doing, so important. But during January, during National Human Trafficking Awareness or Prevention Month, it's the busiest month of the year, which is amazing, and it's such a blessing to be able to say that so many different organizations and partners of ours recognize and then take advantage of Awareness Month to continue promoting more education surrounding this topic, to bring it back up to the forefront of people's minds, right?
Right.
And so, just even last week, for example, I had back-to-back events. One where I partnered with the Arizona Department of Public Safety. I was up in Casa Grande, Arizona, or down in Casa Grande, Arizona. We were at a TA truck stop where we were passing out resources, both from the Department of Public Safety and from TAT, and just talking to truckers, as they're coming in and reminding them, hey, just be aware that this is an issue. It's Awareness Month. We're glad that you're out there keeping America moving, keeping America rolling, but also, we hope that you're paying attention to your surroundings and making sure that you're seeing something if you're saying something if you see something. And then I had the very next day, I had to drive up to Prescott, Arizona, where I gave a presentation to a CDL trainers and examiners seminar. And that's just me too. That was just last week for me. So you have to imagine what the rest of my colleagues are also going through during January, week to week, day to day. We've also been hosting weekly webinars. That's a part of what we're doing for Awareness Month, and the most recent one being the modern slavery at work, recognizing and responding to labor trafficking, which is awesome because we're getting that information out there. And we've seen great attendance and results from those so far as well. So, not to mention, like I said, scheduling, preparing events for the rest of 2026 in January, just preparing for that year at the same time. So, like I said, it's an absolute blessing to be able to say that we're as busy as we are this month.
Yeah, right. And speaking about being busy in January, why is January recognized as, Trafficking Awareness Month, and how does that engage with the trucking industry during this time?
Yeah, great question. I from my understanding, it first started and was recognized by the administration that was in office in 2010, I believe, to draw public attention to the issue and bring national awareness to it. And it's been continued to be honored and recognized by every administration since then. As far as how we engage, like I said, it's our busiest month of the year for that exact reason. The whole team, we're engaging with each of our partners well in advance of January on how they can participate. And, we're active on social media throughout the month as well. So we're busy.
I got you. I'm going to let Steve jump on in here, and he's got a couple of questions he wants to ask also.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I understand you have a background in theater arts and public speaking, and that's interesting. But how's that help you tell these powerful stories?
I know that's a bit off-putting at first, right? When you hear that, you're like, oh, those two things, they don't necessarily intersect or interact. But it was actually one of the, my experiences with that background of mine was one of the reasons that I was drawn to the job in the first place. When you're an actor, you're on stage, you're telling a story that inspires at the end of the day, right? And you're hoping that the audience will leave with exactly that feeling of inspiration on whatever message you're conveying through that story. The only difference, with TAT and speaking and giving presentations is that the story you're telling is real. It's a real life story. and it's a hard to swallow reality on a real issue, right? But the message is still the same. I'm telling you a true story about what this crime looks like, and what the reality of it is in our country and around the globe. And so, not only do I want to leave our audiences in the industry feeling inspired by the work that we do, but also with the capability to do something about it, right? We want to leave you equipped with the opportunity to say, yes, I want to take part of this. So like I said, that was one of the things that drew me to the job in the first place. Was that's a very strong part of my background and in my college and in my training. And so I knew that that would be an area that I would excel in. And to this day, I love giving presentations, helping lead real people in this industry to drive important change by being a part of something bigger than themselves, right? So it's being a good public speaker can be really important in that aspect of some people need to be sold on what it is that we're doing. Not much, because all I have to say is we're fighting human trafficking, and most people are like, "Where do I sign up?" But
Right.
it helps when you're an effective speaker for sure.
Right. Right. What you mentioned, get the message out there. What is the single biggest message you want drivers to hear this month?
Yeah, I think I already said it once, but see something, say something. That's a common phrase that truckers hear. That's a common phrase that we hear all the time in the work that we do. At the end of the day, we want you to be aware of what's going on around you as you're out there on the road. And if someone looks like they could potentially be in trouble, make that call to law enforcement, make that call to the hotline number, right? You could potentially be saving somebody's life. And, we have real life examples of that I'm sure I'll give a couple of examples by telling those stories of our past Harriet Tubman Award winners, that we highlight for that exact reason, to show people this works. If you do this, you can save and change a life.
Right. You and I was discussing before the show. Uh, I'm constantly looking. I mean, I'm keeping my eyes on the road. I'm checking my mirrors, but I'm looking at cars as they go by. I'm looking at campers. You just never know. You pull in a rest area, pull in a truck stop, pull in a truck parking. You see something out of the ordinary, maybe an old pickup truck that's got a homemade camper on it of some kind. Guys and gals, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Do you see somebody walking around back there? You see somebody peeking out the window. Don't take it upon yourself to go over and confront them, but make the phone call because you're concerned. It's one of them. Laura even said that it's better to make the phone call and it turn out to be nothing than never make the phone call and it turn out to be something.
Yeah, and law enforcement says that all the time. I can't tell you how often we work with law enforcement and what we do, whether they're volunteering with us at the trailer or I'm attending law enforcement training. Law enforcement wants you to make that call 100% of the time. If you have a feeling that something's off or you're recognizing red flags, make that call, because they want to come out and do their jobs to ensure that it really is nothing or it is something, right? There's no consequences to making that call. You'll not get in trouble for making that call to law enforcement. They want to be out there. They want to do their jobs and investigate.
And that's the thing. Law enforcement are professionally trained. They know how to pull up on a situation, pull the victim or pull the car over, truck over, and they will approach it. They won't make something up, but they will give a good, legitimate reason why they pulled them over, just to check things out themselves. And personally, Ohio here has a non-emergency number. It's pound 677.
Yeah.
And I love that. I wish every state would go to something like that. Because whether it's a TAT situation, or I've seen drivers that are starting to lose their load on a flatbed, can't get a hold of them, they don't have a radio, I'll dial that number, give them the truck information, give them where they're at, which way they're traveling, and an officer will come out and check it out. And you're not tying up a 911, but this situation here, make that call.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's better to make the call and it turn out nothing than do nothing and it turned out to be something.
So, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Micah, tell us a little bit about the Freedom Drivers Project, and what actually happens when someone steps inside the trailer.
Yeah. Good question. I would say the experience is different for a lot of people. Some people react differently to their first time walking through, and then I also know people who have gone through it multiple times, but they get emotional every single time they go through it because it is a heavy subject matter. It is an important thing, and there is a sort of a heaviness to going through it. Um, for me, what I loved about my first time entering the exhibit when I first started with TAT, just a little over 2 years ago, I'm going in my third year now, is that, you can hear about human trafficking, you can read about human trafficking, you can talk about human trafficking all you want to. And that is one thing. And I'm glad that we do. Because I think, even 15 years ago, if you had mentioned human trafficking, I think a lot of people wouldn't know exactly what that is. But now we've come to a place in society and with where we're at that a lot of people are cognizant of the issue. They know what it is. And I'm glad for that. But the difference in walking into this exhibit and seeing real physical evidence of human trafficking happening in our society through the donated items from survivors, it shows you just how real this crime really is. Um, not that you don't know it's real when you talk about it or you read about it or you speak about it, but it's different. It hits you different. It gives you that proof, if you will, that it's happening in front of us every day and in plain sight. So it can be a really incredible experience for people to take that in for the first time. I see people go through in just a couple of minutes, but then I've also seen people spend 15 to 20 minutes in the trailer, taking it all in, seeing what what it's all about. And my personal favorite is when I see parents choose to bring their kids through the exhibit of all sorts of different ages and have an age appropriate conversation with those children on what they're looking at and answering those questions. And gosh, that is always just so powerful for me to witness. I think we really need more of that in our society. I always say, if you're old enough to be a victim of human trafficking, you're old enough to understand what it is, even if it is in an age appropriate way.
Right, right. And staying on, talking about the trailer and all, let's talk about Tat has a brand new truck and trailer, and what's the difference? What's different about this unit?
Yeah, we're really excited about it. This new trailer that's on its way. It's called the Driving Change Project, and it's going to have a 50-50 emphasis on both sex trafficking and on labor trafficking. As TAT grows and evolves, we want to make sure that we're educating on every aspect of human trafficking, and this new exhibit is just one of the ways that we're able to really do so. So where the Freedom Drivers Project is more of a walkthrough experience and it's more of a museum, right? You're just walking through, you're taking in information and you're going. The Driving Change Project will be more of an interactive exhibit, which is really exciting. Those who come through will be assigned a survivor story as you go through the exhibit. There's gonna be things to lift, there's gonna be things to pull, touch, etc. And so that'll really kind of help you feel as though you're taking part in something exciting as you're going through, while it's still being a good educational experience. And then at the end of it, there's going to be a social media wall that people can take pictures with, and say, I'm making a change. I'm driving change forward as a trucker against trafficking. And so that's something new that we're excited about as well, to have that little section where you can promote what you've just learned about on social media.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now, how's this trailer going to help you reach more drivers and the general public?
Yeah. Well, for one, last 10 years, we've had just the one, right? So you got to say yes to some things, you got to say no to some things because you can't attend everything, right? So having two exhibits is going to be huge. More exhibits means that we can attend more events, which is awesome. There are so many great opportunities around North America as far as events are concerned every single year, where we can just be reaching more people and spreading this education to a much wider audience. And so just having the two helps us achieve that a whole lot easier. More events, more truckers to speak to, more industry members. That means more impact, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, can you kind of give us some warning signs that drivers should be watching for when they're at truck stops, rest areas, maybe even a customer's parking lot?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the common questions that we say to to ask yourselves or to look out for are there young girls out there by themselves that look too young to be there, right? Do they have anybody with them, or are they by themselves? Are they dressed appropriately for the weather? Are they knocking on cab doors? Are they caked in makeup? Are there signs of distress on the person that you're seeing in that gas station or that rest stop? Do they look like they're not okay, right? If they're at the counter and they're with somebody and they're paying for something, does that person have their own identification on them? Or is someone else handling that for them, right?
Right.
Does the situation feel wrong or off to you in any way? And if so, and you keep paying attention to that, make the call, right? We're going to say it a lot on this hour together, but we want you to make that call. Law enforcement, they want you to make that call so that they can do their job. And again, there are no consequences if there doesn't happen to be anything wrong. Um, these red flag indicators, they really could be the difference in somebody's life if you notice them. And that's why we pass out our wallet cards and our visor cards and our brochures and pamphlets to truckers and industry members, and we promote our app because all of these things can absolutely they can help you recognize those signs in the moment. Yeah.
So I guess you're basically answering my next question. The safest way for somebody is to not walk up on them and handle it themselves, but make that phone call. Let the
Yeah. And you said that earlier, and I was like, I'm so excited to talk about this later on because he had really nailed it. If it's a dangerous situation, we absolutely don't want you to go and intervene. We want you to just call law enforcement, call the hotline number. It's really just as simple as that. You can do it easily through our free app. It makes it pretty simple. I've called the hotline number before through the free app, and it was a very simple process. And so, we like to tell drivers, do not get involved if it seems like a dangerous situation. Just making a call is absolutely more than enough.
And Mike, I just put that down on the bottom of the screen there with the
Yeah.
chat, and that's correct, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. I just want everybody to know that you could actually call if you see something, 1-888-373-7888 or text 233-733. And Steve's got it going on there. So
I love it.
I got
Yeah, that's awesome.
I said this on a previous show. You can go over here to my yard and you could tell every truck that I've drove. I have one of these stickers in the truck, and usually
Awesome.
the driver will leave it there. And then, like I said, I got the little cards too. Get a lot of drivers from Pocono Summit to ask me, and I hand them a card, I hand them a window sticker, and I tell them, now do me a favor. When you get home, log on to the website and take the training. Make sure you take the training. Don't just have the sticker, take the training. So, but yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. I'll pick up after you go.
Okay. Can you share a success story where a train driver made the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple stories, and I think we're doing pretty good on time. So maybe I might tell two. But like I said, we tell lots of success stories. Whether that's in our presentations or when we're at events, and we do that through a lot of our Harriet Tubman stories because those are vetted examples of real life instances where a driver did make a call and something happened. So this one that I'm going to tell is probably the one we tell the most. But in January of 2015, two individuals by the names of Sorensen and Hadza pulled their RV into a Virginia truck stop. Police were very quickly called to the scene by a truck driver, and when troopers asked to enter the vehicle, they knew immediately that something was wrong. Sorensen and Hadza were almost giddy with law enforcement. They were just over answering their questions, offering the officers cookies, and even insisting that they sit down and relax. This is just not typical normal behavior for somebody who's being investigated by the police. And there was a third person in the RV at the time. She wasn't talking to anybody. Her hair was pulled up into a greasy bun on top of her head. She's pale, heavily made up with makeup. But most importantly, she kept her eyes down the entire time and she wouldn't look anybody in the eye. And at one point during the conversation, Sorensen and Hadza, they pointed out of the front of their RV to a local landmark, and they were saying, they were telling law enforcement about how they were hoping to visit that local landmark later that day. And it was at this point that the young woman was able to look up, make a face towards the officer that was nearest her while everybody's attention was pointed elsewhere, and basically alert him that she was not okay. So that trooper then removed her from the RV, and when they got outside, that's when she began to open up and tell her really, truly horrific story. She was a 20-year-old woman who had been kidnapped from her Iowa home weeks prior. And one of the things I often pause right here and just say, kidnapping is commonly associated with human trafficking, but more often than not, the victim had some sort of pre-existing relationship with their abuser. And while she was kidnapped, she did actually know Sorensen and Hadza. They were friends of her sisters, so she trusted these guys. So she had been kidnapped from her Iowa home weeks prior. She had been beaten and raped, and her entire body had been burned with instruments that were heated up on the RV stovetop. She had been branded and tortured, and at one point she had actually managed to get away until Sorensen and Hadza tracked her down, and then they jammed nails into her feet to keep her from leaving again. Just absolutely horrible. So they were selling her through Craigslist ads that they were posting of her, and then men were coming out to the RV and they were raping her. She told law enforcement she hadn't eaten in a week, could not remember the last time that she had had anything to drink, and she said that at this point she felt as though she were going to die. And doctors actually, they said that if that call to law enforcement had not been made that day, that she would have died due to the malnutrition and the torture that she had suffered at their hands. The truck driver's name is Kevin Kimmel, and he pulled his truck into that same stop. It's a pretty big story. And he saw her through the curtain for a brief moment before she was snapped back quickly and the curtain was closed pretty quickly. And he just kept saying, that something does not seem right to me here, and I'm going to keep paying attention and watching and noticing. And as he was paying attention, he just kept noticing that cars were coming to and from the RV, and then they were going in for a short time and coming out for a short time. And he thought to himself, you know what, I just don't feel right about this, and I'm going to make that call. So he did. They came, and she was able to get to a hospital where she was able to make a recovery. She's now at home getting the care that she, deserves and needs from her family.
Right.
And my favorite part of the story, it's tough to get through, is she called him from her hospital room and told him that he was her guardian angel. And he said, "No, ma'am, I'm just a trucker against trafficking. I'm just doing my job." That's such a great story, right? And it's a brutal story, but there's a reason that we tell it in all of our presentations, and that's because that's the power of one phone call, right? That's the power of just being aware and looking out for other people in our society and saying, you know what, I don't feel right about this. I'm just going to make a call, and her life is completely different now because he did. Right. So that's a great story. I love that one a lot.
I was at Matt's when he was presented with the award and he was telling the story. And, you're sitting in a room with big burly truck drivers, and everybody was, boy, allergies are bad. There wasn't a dry eye in there because of, and it wasn't for sad crying. It was happy crying.
Of course.
Because you just told the story that she called him.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, all these big burly truck drivers sitting there going, man, oh, it's bad in here. My eyes
Yeah.
But I had a chance to meet the gentleman and just say thank you.
That's fabulous.
So, but
yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. I didn't know that about you. That's really cool that you got to meet him and see him tell the story of Matt's. That's very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we gotta do the commercial break here real quick.
Yep, we're going to do a commercial break. We'll be right back with you.
Already.
Trees line the roadside, the sunshine.
Are you a fan of real country music? The kind that tells a story from the heart of the American open road? Then you're going to love Truck Driving Man. This CD is packed with classic country sounds and songs that celebrate the trucking life, the hard work and the long miles and that freedom of the highway. It's music made for drivers, their families, and anyone who loves the true traditional country feel. Right now, you can get your own copy of Truck Driving Man for just $14.95, and the price includes shipping anywhere in the lower 48 states. That's right, $14.95 delivered straight to your door. And it's so easy to order, you can just call or text 765-684-2448, or you can email ploro1952@gmail.com. Again, that's 765-684-2448 or ploro@gmail.com. Don't wait. Add some genuine trucking music to your collection today. Pick up your copy of Truck Driving Man. Enjoy the sound of the open road wherever you are.
All right, I'm gonna put you back over here on this side. And we're going to jump right back into it. We want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Patrick Lauro. He is such an avid sponsor of Truckers Voices every week. And y'all go pick up your album of Truck Driving Man. Got some good music on there. It's got the bluegrass twang to it if you like that kind of stuff. But even if you don't, when you support him, you support Truckers Voices. So y'all go pick up a copy of that today for sure. So Micah, let's jump right back into it. And you was just talking about the story there with the young lady in the truck parking lot there in the RV. And I've actually got to do a presentation down in Orlando one time with a group of mayors. And I showed the slides and I told that story too. And man, it's just such a impactful story for sure.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's one of the reasons why we tell it in almost every presentation we give, as TAT staff members, but then also TAT ambassadors too, because we want people to hear about the real life impact of just making that phone call. Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to ask you a question that I don't have prepared here, but I do
Sure.
want to say, it says it's Truckers Against Trafficking, but you guys are actually in the trucking or the commercial industry. You're reaching out to bus lines, and who else are you reaching out to
Yeah.
get trained?
That's a great question. We work within a lot of different sectors. Specifically, the three main focuses that we have are the truck, bus, and energy industries. So yeah, you're totally right. Greyhound bus drivers, motor coach, school bus drivers, even we've got a training for school bus drivers. Local drivers, we work with the different associations and stuff like that, government agencies, truck stops, rest stops, dealerships, law enforcement, transit, right? Shipping and logistics. We work within several different capacities and industries within the industry as a whole, right? To be able to promote that training and awareness. Yeah,
I
great
got
question.
So January being, Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So, how are fleets using this, month to refresh their training for drivers?
Yeah, good question. Fleets or companies, Awareness Month, it's coming back up to the forefront, right? Maybe they haven't done a safety meeting with TAP materials in some time. And so when they see our social media posts and they see all the exposure to our training materials, it's just a reminder that this issue does exist. It's great. We also offered lots of different things in 2026, such as a year-long communications plan for companies, as well as media engagement resources if they wanted to post on social media about how to take part and be aware of and bring the awareness to Awareness Month, if you will. And then these weekly webinars as well. Just get some refreshed exposure to our training and into those numbers and what this crime really looks like. And have been very happy with the attendance of those weekly webinars so far. We did one with UPS today that just went great. So, like I said, it's a great reminder to companies to, maybe if they haven't done it in a while, host a safety meeting specifically with the intention of using TATS materials, showing the training video to new drivers in case they haven't seen it yet. Or those who haven't seen it in a while, and then you can report more training numbers, right? So
Right.
always good.
So, any plans? I know the truck driving championship season's coming up
Yeah.
soon. Any plans to go and visit to any of those state associations where they're holding their truck driving championships to talk to those drivers by chance?
Yeah, so we're gonna be at NTDC this year, which we're excited about. So we'll get the chance to bring that awareness at the biggest championship of them all.
Right.
um, but as far as other specific state specific championship competitions, I don't think we're attending any of those in 2026.
And the reason I asked you that was because that's when
Yeah.
I first heard about human
Mhm.
trafficking and truckers against trafficking at the Georgia Truck Driving Championship. A lady come and talked to all of us, and then I was like, you know what, I got to get on board here. And
Yeah.
so anyway, you know, um, you live in Phoenix, right?
Yes,
And
sir. Yeah.
so when you're not traveling, of course. So how does life on the exhibit compare to a driver's lifestyle?
Oh, they're different for sure, right? Like I could never be a truck driver because y'all do some incredible stuff. And you trust me, you do not want me behind the wheel of an 18 wheel or be okay somewhere. That's all I gotta say to that.
I'm
But there
sure I'm sure you do fine. I'm sure you do
Oh,
fine.
you just need a professional trainer, and you will do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I took the simulator at the Women in Trucking trailer that they've got, and I did a pretty good job. I think I had over an 80%. So you take
There
that for a
you
grain
go.
of
See,
salt.
see,
Yeah.
that's where it starts.
But I would say there are similarities, particularly one thing that, I sometimes hear from people or, my boss hears from people when we are at shows or public events with the trailer, um, just public events where anybody could be. We hear, oh, hey, I'm not a truck driver. So, the information in there, it doesn't pertain to me. And I always counter with, well, hey, I'm not a truck driver either, but I've taken all of our trainings and they do pertain to me. Do you go to a hotel, a motel? Do you drive on the road? Do you have a do you have a car? Do you stop at gas stations? Do you eat at restaurants? Do you go to bars? Do you ever do anything in public or live next to people? Then it absolutely pertains to you. And while our training is specifically catered, and most of it's regard to the industries that we work within for obvious reasons, um, all of our training is relevant to every member of society and can be used as such. And so that's the comparison I make to like my life in the similarity of a truck driver's is, yeah, while truckers are the most equipped to use our training more often because of the unique nature of their jobs, anybody can save a life given the circumstances. Like I said, I've called the hotline number before at an airport, and I
Right,
didn't have to be a
right,
truck driver to do that, right? So,
right.
but yeah, you definitely don't want me behind the wheel of an 18 wheeler.
Most of your larger companies, I'm not going to name any, but most of your larger companies, they do all this special training for us drivers and everything, and they've got thousands of trucks. But you've got a lot of individual owner operators out here, and maybe they're leased to a smaller company that's not involved. How would an owner operator get involved?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say get your drivers trained. You're the owner operator. You make the decisions. It's free. It's easily accessible. We want to work with you. It's pretty much as simple as that. Reach out to us through our website, through our standard TAD email, and we'll get you set up. And it's not just the videos either, as you know. I mean, you've got those decals and wallet cards that you showed. How much money did you pay for those decals and wallet cards?
They cost me nothing. I went to the
They
boot
cost you
bash
nothing.
last year, and I got 2 stacks full of them. But
Exactly.
like I said,
So,
even the owner operators, if you've got 4, 5, 6,
yeah.
10 trucks, don't just put the the sticker on your window. Make the phone call.
Yeah.
Go to the website and get trained. And I can't remember what year it is. I'll have to find the certificate. But speaking of,
Mm.
Tim was asking about the local state TDCs. Uh, oh shoot, this was probably I don't know 2012, 13, somewhere in there. We had a representative from TAT come to Ohio, and we all got TAT trained, got our certificate.
Mm.
And and like I said, just don't grab the sticker. If you're at Matt's this March,
Yeah.
don't just grab the sticker and throw it on your window. Know what it means. Know how to use it. You
Yeah.
know, get that trained because they'll send you a certificate in the mail.
Mhm.
hanging on your wall, hanging in your sleeper, whatever, you know. But that's good. Thank you very much. And you know, January is Awareness Month, but how can drivers keep this alive all year long?
Yeah, I think I've talked about the fact that January is great for the reminder, the constant reminder through social media and through all the other companies that are saying, "Hey, we agree that this is a major issue, and we stand with the training that is out there to prevent it." But it's just that it's a reminder, right? But it continues throughout January. It's past January. It goes into February, and it goes throughout the rest of the year. And so I'd say if you want to keep it alive past just all of the activity that's surrounding this issue in January, keep wild cards on you, while you drive. Get a stack. Get our visor cards. Our visor cards are basically bigger versions of our wallet cards that you can keep on your visors in your cab. Keep those in the cab. Um, Also retake our training. Sometimes I retake our training because it's helpful to if you get rusty or you need a refresher, to just remind yourself on what those tips and tools are in those trainings.
Right.
And I'll just always remember to pay attention to what's happening around you. One of the things that I like to say when I'm on podcasts or when I answer questions is that I think in life we are told far too often to mind our own business.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
This is our business,
Right.
Yeah, and the new expression anymore, stay in your lane. Stay in your
Yeah, stay
lane.
in your own lane. Be in other people, not on the actual road. See, this is why you don't want me.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane when you're on the actual road. But as far as it comes to this, this is your business. Take it
Right.
upon yourself to ask those questions, to be aware of what's happening to your fellow member of society that you're
Right.
around in that instance. You might end up saving someone's life.
Well,
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. So Michael. So, what's a misconception about trafficking do you hear the most?
Yeah. There are some out there for sure. But I would say probably the number one misconception that I hear the most is that human trafficking is something that happens in faraway places, right? Or, hey, this doesn't really happen in America or to Americans.
Hmm.
And that's why in all my presentations, I give this statistic pretty much near the very beginning. Um, the vast majority of sex trafficking victims in the United States are United States citizens. And I think just a lot of people just that's something that they've never been told, right? And so they just don't recognize it as a homegrown issue. But yeah, it's something that's happening to Americans in America, to America's youth. And so, like I said, your fellow members of society, pay attention. Take it is your business. Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And if every driver listening just took one action because it's Awareness Month, what would that action be? What would you say it should be?
Yeah, boy, between taking the training online or downloading our app, I'm going to cheat and say those two things. I think if you download the app, that is such a great resource to have. Because, I mean, look, I've got mine on me, right? Everybody's
Right.
got theirs on them all the time, right? So having that app available, it's free on all the, whether it's an Android or an Apple store. Um, it's got great red flag indicators that we've talked about available on there, just the same as the wallet card or the visor cards, and so you can check those out on your phone if that's a quicker way to check those out. But then what's also cool, you mentioned the Ohio non-emergency number. What's
right.
great about our app is, so like let's say I'm in Texas somewhere and I want to make a call, but I just don't know who to call depending on the circumstances because maybe it's not a life-threatening emergency, right? I could go to our local service provider information that has geolocation tracking, and it'll give me a bunch of local service providers and partners that have, that work with TAP to provide their number on our app for different scenarios and different circumstances, right? So if you come into contact with somebody who needs a bed for the night or needs resources, um, there might be a location nearby you that has those services to offer to a victim of human trafficking or a survivor. And so if you just pull that up and they're on the list, you can say, oh, great, I'm going to call this person and see if they've got the ability to help this individual out, right? If that's the given situation. So that's just it's just so useful. When I called, I think I actually was in Ohio as well. And before I called law enforcement in the airport, I called the Ohio state specific hotline first and reported it to them and was able to get onto the phone with them immediately. So, and that's because that option was available to me in the app. So I'd say definitely download our app, check it out, and it's such a great resource. And then take the training. I'm going to cheat and say too, take our training online as it pertains to you. You're a local driver, awesome. We've got a training video for you. You're over the road, awesome. We've got a training video for you. You are an in-home delivery personnel driver. Awesome. We've got a training for you. We've got trainings that are specifically built for you and your section of the industry that we've made for you, so that if the situation ever arises where you need to make a call, you are equipped and ready to be an everyday hero.
So, Micah, talking about the training and all, and I can say, for instance, it does not take long at all. It takes
No.
about 30 minutes to go through
Yeah.
the training. And I mean, you can be tax certified. And like you said, it's good to go and, refresh yourself every so
Mhm.
often to remember what those red flags are, such as branding and different stuff like that, or somebody didn't really know where they're at, just different red flags that might come up. Before we're at the top of the hour. Can you believe that? We're at the top of the hour, and
Wild.
we're fixing to close this show out tonight. But
Yeah.
I do want you to talk a little bit about the Harriet Tubman Award.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Harriet Tubman Award, I'd be glad to. It's an award that we gift out annually to a member of the transportation industry who has made a call that has helped result in something for a victim of human trafficking, if that makes sense. So whether that's somebody from the trucking industry, the busing industry, the energy industry, all they have to have done is made a call that has been or that has had an impact as a result of that call for a victim of human trafficking. We promote this award, all year, and then nominations they close at the end of April every single year. Um, the way that you could submit a nomination for either yourself or for another individual who's got a story similar to Kevin's that I told is you can download our app, you can go to our website, and you can submit a nomination there for that award. There is a prize. I believe I think it's $5,000 cash. And then we will travel to you for like a ceremony to gift you that award. Um, so that's the basis of it, right? And we've got just such great examples of past winners. And again, that's one of the human trafficking is such a difficult crime to prosecute. It's a difficult crime to track numbers on. So when I give a presentation or somebody's asking questions, one of the most common questions I'll get is, how do we know this is working? The stuff that you're doing. How can we track that this is actually making an impact? And I always say the best way is through our Harriet Tubman Award stories, because there's just countless examples of real life moments where a trucker has made that call and has had something happen, right? So our most recent, or not our most recent award, or maybe it was they were an employee at a travel center. And they ended up helping a victim of human trafficking escape their trafficker by buying them a bus ticket.
Wow.
And for years, this survivor we worked with, her name's Nikki. She was like, oh, gosh, I never got into contact with that person, but TA truck stop found that person, and they got reunited. And so we created a video that's available on our website or on our YouTube channel for anybody who wants to watch. That is just their reunion. We were able to capture it on camera. I can't talk about it too much or I'm gonna get emotional again, but it is really something just really special. And it is just it's a good example of why we give this award to somebody every single year.
Right.
Because Nikki's life changed dramatically after that moment, just because this employee at TA decided, you know what, I don't think she's all right, and I'm gonna provide her with a bus ticket out of here, you know.
Right.
Right, right. And I would like to give kudos out to TA, because when I go to the TAs and I go to the bathrooms, and I can see the attached stickers in the restrooms, and it's
Yeah.
got all the information on there. Even the blue beacons when I have a truck wash somewhere, the tat stickers the tat posters are there also. I do want to tell you over here in the chat. Michael Middleton, he wants to know, is the mobile exhibit already booked up for all of 2026?
Great question. So, in short, yes.
Okay.
We have about 60 to 65 events that we're looking at for 2026, which is a pretty big increase from even last year's number of events that we did. And that's going to be between the two trailers. But we like to say if you're interested in just inquiring about what it would take to get the mobile exhibit to come out to an event or something like that near you, send us an email and ask us, and we would love to chat, details about, if that event would be appropriate enough for the mobile exhibit to attend.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
And
great question though.
yeah, and another question I have from a good supporter of the show, also Scott Post. He says, "Are there any interstates or major highways that are major trafficking lanes that you know about?"
Yeah, so this is kind of a hard question to answer in that the answer's not really all that fun, but it happens everywhere. I'll go to a state, like let's say I go to Kansas. I'll go to Kansas and talk about human trafficking, and I guarantee you I'd have at least one person who would walk up and say, it's really bad in Kansas. Same
Yeah.
thing if I go to Ohio. Same thing if I go to Florida. Same thing if I go to any state. I always hear that every single time I go to a state. So the not fun answer is that it really is. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in all interstates and intersections like that. And again, that's like I said, it's a hard crime to track those numbers on. That's why we're so what's the word I'm thinking of, adamant that companies that take our training, they report those training numbers to us so that we can say, yeah, we've trained over 2.4 million people with our training materials, right? We give these Harriet Tubman Awards every year as an example of it's happening everywhere, right? So yeah, good question, but not necessarily the best answer.
Gotcha. So I just want to give a shout out to a couple of the road team captains. You have road team captains for the American Trucking Association that help pull the trailer, and one of them is Ryan Ibarra. Yeah, and he just made the road team, so I want to say congratulations to him.
He made the road team.
He made the road team, sure did.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for Ryan. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then you have the other gentleman that was he is a road team captain out of North Carolina. What is his name?
Antoine Sadler?
Antoine, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I really appreciate those professionals for being a part of that, and, as for myself and Steve, we've always enjoyed going and talking to different, events and being ambassadors whenever you guys needed us to. And, that's great, so this is the end of the show here. We are on the post-trip part of the show. So we're going to go ahead and wind this show down. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. I see you over there in the chat. And I see you over there on YouTube. So I want to thank everybody. I also want to thank everybody. If you're listening to us on the replay and you're going down the road, hey, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting Truckers' Voices. And that's what it is. Hey, think about it. Truckers' Voices making a difference in human trafficking. How about that?
Yes, exactly. and I just want to say, from a personal note, we talk about truck drivers a lot. And, we sit up high, we can see more than you can in a four-wheeler, but this goes to all drivers. And on a personal note, from my heart, just because you work in a fast food restaurant, you work in a restaurant, you bag groceries at the local Kroger store or whatever store you got, get trained, because you know what? Those traffickers are going to take those people into them stores, and if you see something that don't look right, point it out.
Right.
Don't approach it yourself. Make that phone call. Step out in that parking lot, write down the license number, whatever, and make that call, because everybody is important in this, not just drivers. Everybody's important.
Micah, thank you for coming on tonight. Hang out with us just for a few minutes after we go off the air here. We want to talk to you on the other side of it, but I'm going to let Steve take us out of here. We always end with a note of, gratitude, but also a word of advice and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start that out tonight, and then I'll let you, and then Steve will take us out of here. So I just want to tell everybody, tomorrow being Friday, make sure that, prepare yourself for the winter storm that's coming in. Slow down and make sure that you take care of everybody that's around you. And as my motto always is, look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. Okay. Go ahead, Micah.
Yeah, thanks guys so much for listening today. If you're curious about some of the work that we do and want to learn more, definitely visit our website. I believe it's up right now at https ://
Absolutely.
All righty. That brings us to the end of tonight's episode of Truckers Voices. A huge thank you to our good friend Micah for sharing his knowledge and experiences and passion in the fight
Yeah, my
against
pleasure.
human trafficking. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, to every driver listening, your awareness matters. If you see something that doesn't look right, trust your instinct and report it. One call, one tip, one moment of attention can change a life forever. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, be sure to follow, like, and share Truckers Voices on Facebook and YouTube. And help us keep these conversations rolling. I'm Steve and my good friend Tim. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and keep your wheels turning. God bless, and remember, the most important trip is the trip home.
Trees line the roadside, the sun shines in the grass. Another hill behind me, another overpass. Loading out Abilene, headed to the coast. The freedom of the 4-lane is the thing I love the most. 18 wheels take me through rain and sleet and snow. 13 gears will pull me anywhere I want to go. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are counting on my load. Trees line the roadside, the sun shines in the grass. Another hill behind me, another overpass. Loading out Abilene, headed for the coast. The freedom of the 4-lane is the thing I love the